This museum displays the events of Crystal Night together with documentation on the events which preceded it. The museum aims to give its visitors the feeling of participating in those events with the help of photographs, evidence, commentary, and sounds. In order for us to learn the significance of history, we will examine these events. Kimberly, remember that it has been said in the past, a nation which does not know its past, its present is dull and its future is nebulous. The year is 1938 and Hitler is ruling Germany. This period was characterized by dissatisfaction within the Nazi leadership, by the slow rate of the Jewish emigration out of Germany, and from the economical situation, hence the need to escalate the anti-Jewish policies. On the night of November 10th, violent anti-Jewish riots took place all over Germany and Austria. Within hours, thousands of synagogues and businesses were set alight and destroyed. These events were known later as Crystal Night, after the shattered glass of the Jewish shops and businesses were discovered. Let's go inside.
I have to tell the people what happened, so they know it shouldn't happen again. It should never happen again, something like that. Because be aware of your neighbors, be aware of what's happening around you. It's terrible when you live under dictatorship. Even if you're not discriminated against, any dictatorship is terrible.
We call ourselves Homo sapiens, the wise man, but I sometimes wonder whether we should call ourselves.
Let's go to the police station.
The rush of the waters.
My mother told me that my father was arrested, and under the circumstances which he was arrested, he tried to hide in the attic, and a policeman came and said, "Look, I have to bring in the body. If he doesn't come, I have to take you into custody." So my father gave himself up, and he was sent to Buchenwald. He was in Buchenwald for 4 weeks and was dismissed because he was a World War I veteran, fighting for the German army, with the German army. And the dismissal was under the condition that he would leave the country right away. You know, there was
After hearing the evidence, I understand that in the police room, we find evidence from people who tell about the arrest of tens of thousands of Jewish people and their transfer to the concentration camps. Hundreds of them died of diseases and violence. The Crystal Night was one of the events which triggered the deportation of Jewish people out of Germany.
Look at the wall. What does it say?
Click on it to find out. Next, we're going to go to the Jewish school.
Hey, Grandma, tell me something. What happened to the children during that time? Did they go to school?
Yes, some of them did. Let's go find out. Now we're going to go into the school where you can see some pictures and read the text on the wall.
Got to school, 2 SS or SR, I don't remember who, but brown shirt, men with German shepherds holding on to them, and the shepherds were wearing muzzles. We're standing in front of the school, and we could see, if we looked at the yard, that some of the desks were in the yard, and we could look up into the side where the synagogue was, and that was all, the roof was all burned out. And the men said, "There's no school for you today, go home."
I see that despite living under fear and persecution, you succeed to go to school and learn in between. Is that correct?
That is true.
In school, we learned that many children were able to survive because of that hidden by German families. How did you survive, grandmother?
Sometimes we had to hide. Let's go check the hiding place. It's a very small space, and you have to press on the button to get inside.
Okay. We did not make light in the apartment, and we went to bed immediately. And in the middle of the night, they came pounding on the front door. I remember that. And
Now we are going to the synagogue. The synagogue was set alight, holy scripts were torn and strewn on the floor. The Nazis looted and destroyed all the synagogues in Germany and Austria. And now we can go in.
someone knocked on the door and told my father that he and his brother and my grandfather should not go to the synagogue that day because something terrible was coming down.
We saw our synagogue on fire, the smoke coming out. And then we turned on the radio and we heard the news that most of the synagogues were on fire. And we shouldn't go out of the house. Jews should stay in the house, don't go out.
It's shocking, Grandma, how they discredited the holy places, did not respect the Jewish religion, how they burned the Torah books. Today, we are talking about freedom of expression and freedom of worship, but then they did not take much stock in that.
Grandma, what is that board?
You can post your story and experience to the board. You just have to touch a note card and type in your message, so you can tell other visitors what your experience was. Okay, girls, let's exit the museum.
Crystal Night marked the escalation of the anti-Semitic activity of the Nazi state by way of assaults, verbal and physical violence, and killings, and the persecution of the Jewish community to gradually push shit out of Germany. First, they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionist, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. And then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. And then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me.
We must always take sides. Neutrality helps the oppressor, never the victim. Silence encourages the tormentor, never the tormented. Elie Wiesel.